Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you've tried markers with your pen and ink drawings and wondering why they're still looking flat and not really coming out the way you want to, then your markers may not be the problem. It's your understanding of values. And I know that might sound a little harsh right now, but if your drawings are looking flat, it's how you're seeing light and shadow. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create way more dynamic illustrations using brush pens, alcohol markers, by fixing one very important skill that most artists skip. All right, so many of you may be in this very specific situation. You know, you go out, you buy very good markers, Copic markers, Ohuhu markers. You try blending them, you add more layers, and somehow your illustrations still look very flat. Well, I've been there, and most artists think if you just get better at coloring, I'll improve what I've actually done. Well, it's actually a backwards approach because adding markers, it doesn't fix structure. It actually reveals the structure. All right. So here's the shift that really changes everything. Drawing is not about color, it's about value. Value equals light and dark. Before your brain even sees color, it reads light and shadow first. That is how we understand form. That's how we see something in 3D. That's how we feel 3D. So if your values are weak, you're not going to see three-dimensional drawings. Your drawings will never feel solid no matter how good your color choices are. That's something that we need to start honing in, and in this video I'm going to show exactly how to do that. So let's talk about tools. Tools really do matter, just not the way you think they matter. For line work, I'm using the Pentel Art Sign Pen. It has really good qualities. It has great line variation, a very super smooth flow, and it's a very expressive brush. It's a very thin, micro thin brush that can add the finest details and the thickest, broadest strokes. These are the types of pens that create breathtaking illustrations that we often can see with phenomenal artists like Karl Kopinski or Kim Jong-gi. They use the similar pens and they create masterpieces with them. For rendering, I'm using the Copic alcohol markers, specifically the neutral gray, the sketch set. And the neutral grays for this is amazing for scaling up your illustrations. This combo is amazing. So it works extremely well together. The Pentel pen gives you so much line variation and energy because it's a micro thin brush. And the Copics give you a smooth, controllable value that can either blend perfectly or give you a more rugged, textured look, which I love personally. I fully stand behind the pairing. It's a clean, reliable, and perfect pairing that actually really helps you learn value very, very well. As a matter of fact, I had over 240 Ohuhu markers with all the colors that you can ever want. And I remember when I really started understanding the need for learning value, I gave all of my markers to my daughter. I didn't use them that much, but I gave them all to my daughter. And I went out and purchased the Copic sketch set. It's just a neutral gray set, and there's about, let's say, 6 markers. And I only use those to learn value. That's how much I actually believe in the importance that value has in illustrations and the importance that we need to emphasize in getting this concept down of learning value. All right, so here's where most artists go wrong. Some of you start thinking, well, what color should I use? But instead of that, ask yourself, where's the light and where's the shadow coming from? It starts simple. Pick a light source on your paper, on your drawing, and identify where's the shadow side. Group the shadows together. So it's extremely important to get yourself in that mindset when you're starting your illustrations, okay? Also, don't scatter your shadow and light all over the place. Don't scatter them everywhere over your illustrations. Think of shadows as one connecting shape. Then use your grays, your light grays like your N0 and N1 markers for all your soft areas. Use your mid grays like your N2, N4s in order to turn the form and make it a little bit more dimensional. Then you start bringing in your N6 and N8 Copic markers for your deeper shadows, your deeper grays. Those would be like your core shadows. And then you can have your blacks for your cast shadows, or an even darker gray for your cast shadows. And then remember to leave your highlights clean. So that'll be the white of the paper. So in some of my illustrations, I actually like to play around with adding just a little bit of color and choose a color that's the same value as the white of the paper, like this light yellow. That separation is what really creates lots of depth. If everything is mild tone, then everything in your illustration will also look flat. So keep that in mind, okay? And you can play around with different colors as long as they're the same value. That's another thing that you need to keep thinking about. What colors have what value equivalent to those neutral gray markers that you have. Hey, really quickly, if this video is really helping you and you find value in this video, would you consider hitting the like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next videos that come out? I'm in the process of writing my middle grade illustration novel. It is a science fiction story with a really cool theme that centers around God's redemptive story. And I would like to keep you all updated with that as future videos come out. Alrighty, so now let's talk about how you actually improve with value. And here's a few drills that I think will really level up your illustrations, and I'm going to show you how to do them and why they worked really well. Okay, so the first drill is doing a value scale in different ways. Try to create a really realistic gradient using your Copic markers with varying objects. Lay out the markers you will be using for this drill. You'll learn how your markers will behave and which markers you need to use in order to achieve a certain look that you want. To add value, you really need to focus on layering, not just rushing everything. Also, depending on the number of markers that you have, will really determine the level of smoothness in your gradient. The more markers that you have, the less likely you will have streaks. And the greater the jumps in markers that you have, so if you have less, then the more noticeable the value shifts you'll have. Again, this might be good depending on your style, or it might actually hinder your style. So make sure you do this while you're conducting your drills. Draw some simple organic shapes. Pick one light source. Make sure you show the clear shadow side, and then you add a cast shadow. This really forces you and it teaches you to understand form better than anything else, because it forces you to think three-dimensionally, okay? The second drill is shadow grouping. So now I want you to draw something really simple, like a cat or a shoe or a face, right? And then fill in all the shadows with one tone first. No detail, just grouping. And that literally fixes about 90% of all your flat drawings. It's a two-value challenge. You have your white, and then you have your darker value. It's going to really force you to think outside the box of how we normally think. So I'd recommend picking one dark gray, maybe an N6 or maybe even an N8, which is a neutral gray 6 or a neutral gray 8. And that's it. If it works in two values, it will work in color, and it'll change the way you're thinking as you're doing illustrations. But remember, you have to practice every single day, over and over. Get it embedded in your mind, okay? Because here's the truth. Most people, most artists, don't want to hear this. You don't need better markers, better pens. What you really do need is you need to train your observational skills, and you need to detect value. Once you understand value, your drawings gain so much more depth. Your lighting becomes way more natural looking in all of your illustrations, which is the goal, right? And your work feels, to be honest, it feels way more professional. It's no longer student grade, it becomes professional. And when you finally add color, then everything clicks. So remember this, value first, then color, okay? And it's worth it. So remember, we've been given the ability to create, and that's a gift from God. Now, it's your responsibility to grow it. And if this helps, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.